Does it say record in here, George? Is it supposed to say record in the viewfinder?
Yeah, RAC at the top.
Oh yeah, there it goes.
Okay, give me another reading for 100.
The thing about the Wilburys for me is if we'd have tried to plan that, or if anybody had tried to, you know, say, let's form this band and get these people in it would never happen. It's impossible. And the thing happened completely just by magic, just by circumstances. Maybe there was a full moon that night or something like that. And it was quite a magical little thing, really. I had dinner with Roy Orbison and Jeff. And I said to Jeff, look, tomorrow I'm just going to go in a studio and make up a tune, and do you want to come and help? He said, sure. Bob, we knew, had this little studio. I phoned Bob up. I mean, sometimes you can phone him and not get through for years, but he picked up first ring and he said, sure, come on over. My guitar was at Tom Petty's house, so Tom, Jeff picked me up. We went over to Bob's. I got the first line, just had been beat up, battered around, and then wham, they just kept coming with all these lines. And there was Bob was saying, well, what's it called? What's it about? And I finally saw behind his door this big box with a sticker on it saying handle with care. I said, handle with care? He said, oh yeah, good.
Reputations changeable, situations tolerable, but baby you're adorable, handle me with care. I'm so tired of being lonely, I still have some love to give. Won't you show me that you really care? Everybody's got some.
I liked the song and the way it had turned out with all these people on it so much, so I just carried it around in my pocket for ages thinking, well, what can I do with this thing? And the only thing to do I could think of was do another 9, make an album.
And I said, yeah, that sounds like a real good idea, because it had really been such magic doing the first track.
Bob had to go on the road end of May, so we just sort of said, okay, we'll meet on the 7th of May or something like that.
All in a day's work for a Wilburys.
And we had like 9 or 10 days that we knew we could get Bob for. And everybody else was relatively free. So we just said, well, let's do it. We'll just write a tune a day and do it that way. It was very exciting.
And every time we start thinking about it, it's just, wow, and Roy Orbison's in the band.
All we planned was which weeks that we were all available to get together. But apart from that, there was no other plan. I mean, we set up a room where we were going to be, and then we walked in and we started writing the tune.
We were in Dave Stewart's house, and it was a nice environment because you could kind of sit outside. It was warm, and the doors were always open.
Why don't we do one like that?
We had a little tiny studio, but it wasn't a studio, it was more like just a control room with a vocal booth, so we didn't have any space to play the guitars. So we set up in his kitchen. It wasn't soundproofed or anything, and we just put like 5 chairs around the kitchen and then put the microphones up. And that's it, so all them guitar parts, you know, all them acoustic guitars were just in this kitchen.
We did it for music, that's what it was all about. There wasn't a lot of deciding of what to do. Not a lot of time spent planning out anything. So we just wrote the best songs that we could write and sang them as best we could.
There at the bar when I got out of the car.
Oh, no, she was long and tall.
Short and fat. She was dressed to kill.
Yeah, that's good.
To give me a thrill.
She was over the hill.
She was What's that?
She was dressed to kill. She was over the hill.
Just sitting around in a circle, like 5 of us, just strumming acoustic guitars and coming up with a song in like a couple of hours that was almost ready to record, you know, and then recording it like on the evening. It's pretty sort of unbelievable stuff.
I looked at her eyes. They were full of surprise. They were full of surprise. It seems to always like they were filled with surprise. Yeah, they're full of surprise.
They were filled with surprise. Last night, thinking about last night, I asked her to marry me. She smiled and pulled out a knife. She said the party's just beginning. She said, "Oh shit."
Sometimes we'd sing the same song, you know, just to see who sounded good or if this key fits somebody. That was a lot of the fun of it.
And George would kind of audition us, which could be really intimidating, you know, because, like, you know, Roy Orbison would sing the song, and then they'd send you out to sing it, you know, and it's like, well, damn, that's really intimidating.
Last night, thinking about last night. Last night, talking about last night.
Tweet and the Monkey Man was like really Tom Petty and Bob. Well, Jeff and I were there too, but we were just sitting around in the kitchen, and he, for some reason, was talking about all this stuff which didn't make much sense to me. You know, it was that Americana kind of stuff. And we got a tape cassette and put it on, and then transcribed everything they were saying. It was just fantastic watching him do it, because he had like one take warming himself up. And on take two, he sang that Tweet and the Monkey Man right through. And then what he did was he changed some of the lyrics. Maybe in about 4 places, he changed a couple of lines and improved them and dropped those lines in, and that's it.
Let's get them near the souvenir stand.
An ambulance come rolling in, the state trooper close behind. Tweeter took his gun and tied him up and treated him unkind. Undercover cop was left tied up to a tree near the souvenir stand by the abandoned factory.
How's that?
Huh?
Good?
Yeah.
I think it was good. Okay.
The way he writes the words down, like very tiny, like a spider's written it. You know, you can't hardly read it. And that's the amazing thing. It's just unbelievable seeing how he did it.
It was there by Broadway prison where the fates were being cast. The undercover cop of course.
I mean, that, for me, was just amazing watching it, because I had very little to do with writing that tune at all, except Jeff and I remembered a bit he did that he'd forgotten, which became that chorus.
And the walls came down all the way to hell. Never saw them when they're standing, never saw them when they fell.
Was that it? That was it?
That was it, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Really not, man.
Jim started playing the shells, and it sounded great, you know, it sounded just like old Springs, but it sounded really good. It suited the track really well. Nothing was off limits, you know, you could record where you like, so it was opportunity to get sounds that you would never have got before.
The sound of it, I think, is just so close to a good old rock and roll thing from like the late 50s. But that partially is, I think, the guitars, the acoustics. And the fridge. I tell you, it's the great new sound, folks. What's happening? You know, it had to be a bit rough, but that was the fun about it. It's like the most basic rock and roll sound.
As you were doing it, you already felt like you were listening to the finished product, and it sounded great. Those were very happy moments, to be listening to a song knowing that you'd got it already, and all you could do was make it better.
I love that track. It's just so funny, really. I mean, I don't know how other people write songs, but that bit, I just picked up a bunch of magazines and gave everybody a magazine. And I had some copies of Autosport. And they